You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
All right, happy Monday.
We are live.
All right,
Robbie's here.
so Robbie was sick on Friday, so we didn't get to do our show. So do you feel better now, sir?
I do feel much better now.
Good, that's good news. John has come back from its 50th vacation of the year.
I wasn't feeling that well on Friday either.
And this is what everybody thinks of John not feeling well on vacation. Okay, world's smallest
I should be here
island.
for, I think, 4 or 5 weeks in a row now. I think.
No, you won't.
Don't threaten us, John. Don't threaten us, man. Come on.
All right, so we got Preston in the house, Ron, Stevie B, we're Rupenstein, Cool Gamer, Jeff Whiting. What's going on, guys?
I was thinking of Robbie. They had on Halloween, I was down in Mystic Islands, they had a horror film festival at the convention center, conference center at the hotel across from ours. And there were, I wasn't sure how well it would be. They opened the doors at noon. They like 9:30 in the morning when I was going to get my hangover coffee, they already had hundreds of people out there. I was super glad.
All right. Well, okay. First of all, I want a shout out to Stevie B. The Jets are so much fun to watch this year, dude. I can't even tell you. Beat the Bills. Go Jets. Jets, 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 Jets.
I can't believe it, man. And the Packers continue to stink it up. Like, what is going on?
3 interceptions. I mean, come on, dude. Preston, the Namor statue will be on Wednesday. All right. So just want to let you know that.
So why is it here tonight?
Wasn't my plan. Okay. Does Nick know there's a Submariner statue on the door, on the table? No, that's why we closed the door, Ron.
A few weeks ago, Nick said, pick a statue to me. And I picked that. And the look in his eyes, it was like I stepped on his cat. He was so hurt. I was like, no, man, people will love this statue. And I know he's thinking, I would love this statue, and this is all my stuff.
So, all right. So the statue will be, yes, a Wednesday teaser. That is correct.
And I know it's hard to see on this thing is so cool.
It is pretty cool.
This thing is this is one of the better statues we have had ever.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
This is Deja Thoris on the cat level good.
So the movie opens Thursday. I think Amy is going. She already has tickets. Thursday night. Oh,
Yep.
why do they say it's a Friday opening when it's actually a Thursday?
I'm going to see it at like 10:10.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand. And you might want to just say Thursday opening. I mean,
if they say Thursday, then people are going to be trying to go Wednesday night.
Yes, I understand. It's always
it started with the midnight shows, right? And then they were like, "Hey, we make money on midnight shows. What if midnight was 6?" Like they just keep going back.
That's right. That's why I asked Amy. I said, "Is the show, the showing midnight?" She goes, "No, it's like 6 o'clock."
It's the Black Friday idea, right? Once upon a time, when I was a little kid, decades past, your mom and dad went out on Black Friday. By the time I was a teenager, my mom was going to the stores at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. When I was a grown man, my mom was shopping on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean?
And
now, if you're Amazon Prime, there's already Black Friday deals for you. Just click.
Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing about that is obviously a lot of places, a lot of stores are shutting down now. On Thursdays. So,
I think they caught a lot of blowback. Like, come on, man, you can't give people one day they have to eat their dinner and then rush in to sell your swag.
They caught that feedback, right? But then they also like you said, Amazon Walmart.com, Target.com. They're doing deals right now. In fact, they do deals all year round. It's ridiculous. So I think less people are down to do that. Now I know the diehards still like that. Like my sisters, they love that. Like on Thanksgiving, they're like, all right, we're out. We got to go line up. I'm like, are you serious?
I don't get it. I don't like going shopping on a normal day.
Most of the women in my wife's family, it's the same thing. They game plan where they're going to go, where they're going to get their breakfast at like 3 a.m.
It makes no sense to me. It's like when the iPhones came out. So let me get this straight. You want me to stand in line you can take my money? No. I'm pretty sure I can go anywhere and they'll take my money and I don't have to wait in line for that to happen, right?
Well, this was the thing, and I don't know if he meant it this way. But over on Twitter, Elon Musk said, well, you have to pay $8 a month for this and that, or you won't see the advertising. And I'm like, so you want me to see your advertising? I know that's not what he meant, but I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that.
Oh, the blue check. Yeah. I'm not.
People won't see you. Okay.
Yeah. Buying a company for like $54 billion as an impulse buy probably wasn't the world's greatest plan, as I think.
Well, the stock is getting hammered. He's going to have to be in this situation where he's got to leverage himself more and more and more.
I've been in plenty of situations where maybe I had too many drinks that night, and I get on my Amazon app and I buy $100 Blu-ray box set that I shouldn't have. Yeah, imagine if you're Elon Musk and you're like, I'll buy Twitter. Like it just.
Well, he was stoned on the Joe Rogan show, and he said it. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. I get it. Everybody's been there, like Robbie just said. But it's okay the next day to say, I thought better of it.
Well, he tried and he got sued by Twitter.
Now he spent $44 billion to hear 125 million people say, dude, you suck.
Yeah. That's all Twitter is. All Twitter is now are people complaining about Elon and being like, I'm leaving. I'm like, well, you're still here. Like,
I can't find stuff, like I'm looking to talk to somebody and I got to get through 150 ads telling me to vote. I voted last week. I'm good. Thanks. And where are you going to go next? After I log off, probably to the bathroom and then out to live my day.
TMI.
But seriously though, everybody's like, where am I going? I get it. If I had a business and I felt my business was not getting the pop for my advertising budget money that it should be, then I would think of where I want to move my company. I don't have a brand. I don't have anything. Most of these people complaining don't have a brand or anything. Susie from San Antonio, I do not need to know what she had for breakfast.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have a Twitter account. I've never had a Twitter account. When Twitter first came on, I was like, I don't get it. Okay. You can only have so many characters. That made even less sense to me. So,
in defense of Twitter, when I started doing the food truck thing, 2012, 2013 in this area, it was perfect. It made the food truck scene from Atlantic City to Philadelphia work because people could simply take a picture of their truck's menu, geotag where they were going to be, and say, 13th and Tasker, 11 to sell out. And it was easy for people to find food trucks. They didn't have to go to Instagram, Facebook, look through like a million pictures. All they had to do was follow whatever food truck they like, Spot Burgers, whatever. And then Josh or whoever was running that truck would tell you, right, this is where I am today. Maybe if he had the time, he would kind of tell you about a special burger or, we're having brisket on a biscuit today. And that was
all right. So we're going to get to the best offer books in a second. But now I do want to address that. Thank you, JD, for the segue. Very disappointed that the Phillies lost, obviously. The Astros are ridiculous.
I was really counting on y'all, man. I was really counting on y'all. Way to let me down.
I got to be honest with you, though. Nobody in Philadelphia was upset with the Phillies. I mean, first of all, we didn't expect to be there. All right. You get rid of Girardi midway through the season and everybody's thinking, we're below 500. It's bad. And then of course they added the 6th seed, which didn't exist last year. So nobody thought that we get this far. So I'd say that as Philly fans, we're pretty happy.
At least it helped ease that hurt, right? With your Eagles going 8-0. So I think still, it's a good trade-off, right?
Well, the NFL is come on, it is so crazy this year. Yeah, John, the Bucks won barely. I don't think you're out of the woods yet, John. I mean, that was not pretty by any stretch of the imagination.
This is just the year for Brady to break and set records, right? I mean, that seems like it is. And as far as the Astros go, I cannot be more sickened that they won, but I'm happy for Dusty Baker. He deserved it. So
I am too. He longtime manager Dusty Baker. Again, I'm disappointed, of course, but not horribly. I mean, I never expected the Phils were going to be in the World Series at all. Not even a smidgen at the beginning of the season.
It was one of those things where it was a shock for the fans. The bars and restaurants filled up. You know what I mean? This time of year, generally, the sports bars, especially during the week, there's nothing going on. These places are empty.
Yeah.
These places were packed. It was a much-needed influx of cash. And I think we've talked about this before. The lockdown has separated people. They're not quite 100% sure. Something like that, like your team in it, brings people out. Like I noticed this past week, is this week or the week before, the Eagles, the Comcast Center is filled again.
Yep.
I used to do food trucks there with several other Wranglers way back when. It was hard to fill that. It was like shoulder to shoulder New Year's Eve in there. 25 massive screens all showing the game, food and drink flying out the door. I think that's much needed.
Well, what's really disappointing and upsetting is, of course, the city of Philadelphia had to grease up all those lampposts for nothing. Okay.
They had their fun, man. I don't know how anybody can.
Joel, there was not. I got to tell you, there actually, a lot of family or a lot of fans were there when the Phillies came home, and everybody cheered them. Nobody's upset with the Phils. I mean, you have to remember, midway through the season, they fired Girardi. We're below 500. Everybody's thinking, well, this is another.
The worst thing I saw was they egged some guy's tailgate RV thing that had Astro stuff all over it.
Yeah, well,
that was the extent of the riot. There was
that's going to happen.
And
again,
silly string.
This is Philadelphia. That's
like a thing. But I didn't see or hear any sort of.
All right, so let's get through the best offer books. All right, so first up, very excited about Black Panther coming out. So I'm not going to see it quite as soon as Amy, or will any of us.
I'll see it.
John.
Amy's seen it at 7 something.
I think so.
I think she said I'm seeing it at the 10:10 show.
All right, so Amy will be first.
Well,
all right, so Black Panther number 513, signed in silver by Francesco Francavilla. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is number 59 of 170, signed in silver, and it is a best offer book tonight, starting at $19.66.
Nice. I remember when this came out, and this
I
was
don't want to yell that for selling it that low. That's crazy.
This was my very first time I think I came across Francisco's work, right? And I was so just taken with it. I loved it. I was like, this artwork is amazing. And then he's become one of my absolute favorite artists. I've been able to have the pleasure of meeting him. He's a super cool dude. He loves horror. Follow him on socials. He does amazing work. And this was the first time I noticed him. I thought the story was.
I didn't notice you like horror.
Yeah. But this was a cool story too, where like Daredevil is like evil or dead or something, and Black Panther kind of takes over as the guardian of Hell's Kitchen for sure.
King of the Dead or something, or
yeah, it was right after Shadowland. So I think I think they thought he was dead, but it turned out he was possessed by a demon. And I mean, you know how comics are, but anyway.
You know how comics are. Come on now.
All right, so this is a best offer starting at $19.66. All right, so our next two best offer items are actually vintage books.
Oh,
so we have Strange Tales number 107, and it is a presumed grade of a 3.0. And floating around, you can generally find it floating around 315 or some change. All right, Stevie B, gotcha, buddy.
$20.17. Oh, for the year.
No. For the Jets Bills game, 2017.
Oh, okay. I was going to see, this isn't the Price is Right. I don't want to see someone bid $20.18.
Yeah. Jets fans are super happy that this Monday.
Them, I will actually $1 then if I could do that.
I would have been one.
All right, Strange Tales number 107. You can find it floating around for 315. It is a best offer book starting at 200.
Is that a Kirby cover?
It sure looks like
it. Looks like a Kirby cover.
Yeah.
All right.
Although, wait, who else did some of those covers? Was it Dick Ayers that did some of those covers way back then too?
Maybe.
Like doing the Kirby style? I don't.
God rest his soul. All right. So then the next one, also a vintage book, Tales to Astonish, number 101. Presumed grade of a 5.5, first appearance of Destiny. And you can find it floating around probably about $80 or more in the open market. It is a best offer book starting at $50.
Nice. And this is right before the title went straight Hulk. right before, right? Because that was like what 102, 103, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this might be the last or next to last issue where it's Hulk and Submariner.
All right, so those are all the best offer books of the night, and we got a bunch of stuff. We got, I think, how many CCAs did I bring on today? Let me see.
All of them.
1, 2, all of them. 3, 4, 5. I think we got 5 tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I tried to load up a little bit on that. So it's ironic that Kyle JD or Jay, whoever did it, named this show, Where's Rex's Taco Truck? Because I have a taco truck story from the weekend.
Oh, really? Let's go.
So we're at a tournament at Spencer Park, right? Down Rancocas.
I was going to say
Rancocas. Right. So it was a great caterer they got a caterer from Philly, known for their hoagies. I think it's Al's or something. No, it's called Al's, Big Al's or something like that.
Okay. I know what you mean.
So I had an egg, cheese, and pork roll sandwich to start, and was going to go back for the hoagie for lunch, and they sold out. So I was very disappointed. So I'm leaving the fields, and down the road where Rancocas and Creek meet Martyr, I make that right turn on a Martyr. So it just about half a mile from the fields, and that catering business right to the right side that's changed names recently.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess what was set up there?
Taco truck.
A taco truck. It was crazy.
They have trucks in that parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's where Zogies was. And Zogies is like an acquired taste. They're like deep frying cheesesteaks or whatever. Some people like it, some people don't. But they have Zogies, and then they always have another truck.
So it was awesome. So I stopped. I got their 3 taco special and an empanada. It was fantastic. Wow. And then before that, at the tournament, I had they had a donut truck, and I had free deep fried Oreos. Oh my God, those are fantastic. Those are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you can't deep fry anything that's not going to be fantastic, even an Oreo.
I live in Alabama. We deep fry anything. Like
I was going to say, like a chipmunk jumps in the fryer, meals on. I appreciate
hey, that's pretty good. Belly button lint. Let's try it. Whatever. If it's got a crispy frittered crust, we'll eat it.
One of the clients I did a menu for years ago, we did a pop-up with local sports radio guy, Ron Sullivan, the Sheffield hat, which is closed now. They were just desperate to try anything. So I said, why don't we have a truck in the back and we'll just deep fry stuff? So you'd have all the late night happy hour stoner crowd come in, and we were deep frying everything from slices of Elio's frozen pizza to Oreos, and we were doing it in pancake batter.
Sounds so good.
That guy recouped so much of his money. Rather than being knocked down, he sold the building. And now they're building like a much nicer restaurant.
Oh, man, you can deep fry anything.
People had those days where you're just like, for dinner tonight, all we're having is just deep fried stuff. We did this so many times. Be like deep fried green beans, deep fried corn nuggets, deep fried cheese sticks. Like you just have a whole spread of it, and you eat it, and you feel terrible the next day, but it's worth it.
That's about 50% of the menu over Myrtle Beach. I mean, I'm in a very touristy area, and there's 2 different types of places there. There's barbecue places, which are very good. The problem is they're super crowded. You got to be in there real early, or you don't get any barbecue. I got like a chicken sandwich because I got there at like 4:30. And a ton of these deep fried seafood places, you've got to kind of pick and choose. Like I had a lot of sushi. I went to New York Prime. I went to Landry Steakhouse because I didn't want to wait all day for barbecue. Like, I'm not going to go get dinner at 2:00 in the afternoon when I'm on vacation. And a ton of these places, it's just all these deep fried, like fish. It didn't matter what it was. And I was just like, you can only do that so many days in a row.
All right. So Stevie B has a good question. What's the weirdest thing that you guys have ever eaten deep fried?
See, that's weird because what's weird to me is it's accepted, but I remember the first time I had deep fried ice cream, that blew my mind. That whole concept, like, how does that even possible? But it's hard, like Snickers bars, there's all kinds of random stuff that people get deep fried.
We did, like I said, at the time we did it, now I guess everybody does it. At the time we did it, we were clearing out this guy's walk-in because he was closing and I found this massive case of Elio's pizza slices. I don't know what a bar is doing with Elio's pizza slices, but they were there. Defrosted them, patted them dry, dropped them in pancake batter, dropped them in the deep fry. People were like, "You're a genius." And I was just like, I'm literally just deep frying for slices of frozen pizza. For me, that was the weirdest success I had consulting for someone's menu. I was just like, the owner didn't care. I mean, he was checked out. He was dealing with financial issues, personal issues. He's like, just sell all the stuff so I can lock the door. Make whatever money you can. Okay.
I guess the weirdest thing, and it's probably not that weird, it's becoming more common, is fried pickles.
Yeah, fried pickles are pretty weird. But if you're in the South, that's been a thing for
and it's becoming more common.
I love fried pickles. I've been eating those for my whole life. Those are good. Fried pickles, fried mushrooms. I love them. And everybody gets the pickle slices, right?
Yeah.
But, man, down here, you can find places that deep fry the pickle spears. Though that's the way to
try that. I haven't tried. I would like to though. Yeah. You know, I only get the little slices. That's all I've ever had.
They have that here at like a couple places.
Smashburger has it.
Yeah, Smashburger has it. Like the Jug Handle has it. You know, like a couple places where, but they're just doing it to do it. They're not into it. They're not doing pickle spears. They're not doing. Yeah. But yeah, I would have to say for me the weirdest thing that was a success that was deep fried were slices of like frozen pizza. I just, you know, now I see people at tailgates dropping like a whole Tombstone pizza.
Where Rubenstein, I've had French fries.
Okay, fair enough. People literally taking the Tombstone pizza out of the package, dropping it in the batter, and dropping it in a deep fryer made with the turkey fries.
So Marcus says deep fried butter stick. I just feel my cholesterol rising. What?
I've never had that, but they do that in like Iowa and Wyoming and stuff, right? Like that's a big fair food there or something like that.
A lot of butter, man.
Buddy in Iowa said that the bar he goes to, he teaches at the Palmer College of Chiropractic in Iowa. And the campus bar calls that the Paula Deen. They freeze a bar of butter like as hard as they can get it, back of the walk-in on a metal sheet tray, and then they pull it out, batter dip it, and deep fry it. And apparently people are like, it's delicious. You're eating a stick of butter. And I'm not judging you. I'm just...
So Tom Bishop, hey, thanks for joining us, buddy. No, we have not, but you know what? We'll use that as a segue. We'll
show one now.
Yeah, let's show one now. Hold on a second.
All right. Fantastic Four one here, right?
We do. Cool. So let's do that one first. All right. So we have Fantastic Four number 33, Rob Liefeld variant cover, CGC graded guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $50. Nice. So that is available tonight.
That was cool that Rob put Fabian Nicie's character Deadpool on there.
Oh man. You're starting some stuff, man. I hope Rob's not watching. Here's what I love about Rob. Rob loves to cut any corner he can, and I appreciate that. I understand. Dude, he's like, you know what? I ain't got to draw the Invisible Woman.
Yeah, right?
She's invisible. She's there.
Invisible. Oh, man.
The Deadpool, though, that's a nice figure. His thing is interesting, but his read's actually really good. And I guess I can barely see it, but I guess that's Johnny back there. I've been going through his Youngblood run from the the 90s, and there's a lot there to like and a lot there not to like, but you know, it's still fun. Rob Liefeld's one of the most outrageous and entertaining creators out there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think Rob very much shoots from the hip. It gets him in trouble sometimes, but I admire the honesty. You know, it's hard to just be everything for everyone, say whatever. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit careful what you say because you really don't want to. It's okay to tick people off. You don't want to insult people. You don't want to alienate people who might buy your book.
Well, I think he got, you know, he really got famous, you know, when he was very young.
I'm amazed that Deadpool has feet on that cover.
Yeah, right. You know, he got famous very young, so which I think accounted for a lot of things that came out of his mouth, not realizing.
He actually said that when they interviewed him for the I think it's called The Making of Image or History of Image. It's basically a movie on Amazon Prime about making image. And he said
Image Revolution, right? The Image Revolution.
24-year-old millionaire.
Yeah. So, and certainly I think he's matured some. You know, you don't see him, you know, saying the kind of stuff he said when he was in.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, you do. I mean, if you just follow him on his socials, he's always trying to be outrageous. He's almost like, and now Kanye's gone a little bit far, but he's always trying to be like the Kanye of the comic book industry. It's like, why is he relevant?
That's a great analogy,
right? So he does that.
Well, Kanye's completely lost his mind. I mean, he's
lost his money.
Yeah, well,
if you're a famous person, there's a line you don't cross, and you know what that line is? The bottom line of your money. When people dropping you for hundreds of millions of dollars, that's time for you to walk back whatever you said. I don't care what it is. You know, I don't care if you said pineapple belongs on pizza. If they take hundreds of millions of dollars in advertiser money, okay, I'm sorry I offended anybody. That was me being stupid. That's mea culpa, and then you walk it back. Kanye is just like, no, I said what I said. Okay, man.
Well, I think Ezra Miller has figured that out.
Yes.
Haven't heard much about the Ezra Miller show in a while. So, you know, that's probably had some effect when Warner Brothers, or now Warner Discovery, was starting to cut things like Batgirl stuff. I think he kind of got the hint there.
Oh, yeah. When they had to make that deal where they're like, okay, look, homie, get your mom on board, apologize. Like, it's just like he's been straight and narrow since then.
You got some work to do, my friend, because we got some business to do.
Exactly.
They're trying to do that with Kyrie right now, right? But he doesn't seem to be wanting to go along with it. So.
Well, Kyrie's got 6 points that he's got to hit before the Nets will reinstate him. But all right, so we got to go to our
before you go to commercial.
Oh, wait.
So
it's a Nick break. We need music for Nick
break.
break.
These guys are making an announcement on Wednesday about this statue. Check out what we're going to have on Friday for the original art experience.
7:00.
Nice.
Will Amy join you to do the Black Panther report?
She will be doing the Black Panther report. Matter of fact, when we come back from break, wait till you see what I show you.
Ooh.
All right, so stay tuned.
Yeah, stick around. I've seen some of this stuff.
We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox. Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite news show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
All right, and we're back. Jerem, what's going on, buddy?
And if you guys think this is just a character I play on the show, I was just out there pestering Jim Kuhorik for
none of this is pretend. I assure you, he does this for real.
No, I very much appreciate when creators, through the show or through social media, they take the time to sign a book for me or something. I mean, not everybody is Ken. Not everybody draws at warp speed, right? So in the time it takes them, oh God, I have to sign something else for this guy. At some point, they'll discover that Nick will hire them even if they don't do this for me. But until then,
We missed you, John. That was a name drop, by the way, everyone.
Jim did one of my favorite runs on the $6 Million Man. It was really like a aggressive interpretation of that character, which I really liked. And he's done a ton of stuff over the years.
Marcus, I hate to disappoint you, but they will be nowhere near that price that you put up there. He said that they would be $120,000 to cover.
No boy.
They will not be anywhere near that price.
$115.
The artist formerly known, I said nowhere near.
Oh, all right.
$115 is near. No, lower. Far lower.
More.
Sorry. But we will have Black Panther, #1. This is #2, by the way.
Is that from the Ramita run? Is that Ramita?
Yep, Ramita Jr.
Nice.
So this is the run that was used. No, it will not. They will be far lower, those two covers, okay? Far lower. Jesus, the love in the room. This is the Reggie Hudlin, John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson run that was used as the basis of the 2010 BET animated series, and much of which was used in the first Black Panther movie. Let's see. What else? Check it out. Uh-oh. Joel, much less. This is the first page of Shuri. First appearance of Shuri.
When Nick sees the price of challengers, it's going to be $120,000.
Look, but don't touch segment on Friday. No, Everett Submariner is not up for sale.
You get Everett Submariner stuff? Nick?
I do have some Everett.
Of course he does.
Submariner.
You guys think I'm kidding when I say these. Nick has got a lot of stuff.
Okay, BBB, it will be more than 99 cents. It will be more than 99 cents.
That's quite a range they're pegging you there for, man. 120.
Look at Marcus. If they were a higher price, I'd be inclined to post this subby piece myself.
Oh my god.
Ed Weird, I don't know where you live, whether or not it's a mortgage or two. I'm pretty sure in Idaho, you could get a mortgage for $40,000.
For two
how
houses?
much is Robbie? How much is 2 houses?
2 houses.
Robbie, how much is a mortgage where you live?
I have no idea. I live in an apartment, so
throw a dart in the air. What do you think?
I have no idea. It's 60,000. I have no idea. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be talking about. Like, how much is a house around here?
Yeah.
Like $120K probably on average. Maybe
3
2.
bedroom, 2 and
Oh,
a half
you've got
bath.
one. You've got a house in Alabama right in your hand, sir. They said it was $120,000. Imagine Nick goes into the bank, sir. Your house is $120,000. Here you go. And he drops the page right on the table. Bye.
On Friday, I will. Joel says his mortgage is $2,400 a month. But Joel, how much was your house to have a $2,400?
Yeah, I mean, you in
mortgage?
California, or because that sounds pretty high.
So on Friday, we'll talk about how much I was offered for page 9. So somebody really wanted.
Marcus
page
just
9.
said it. No mortgage needed. Just trade the art.
You know, there is art that I don't have that I can't afford. So you never know. Massachusetts, that's a pretty expensive state.
That's expensive state.
Wow.
I have a friend who has a place in the Berkshires, and man, that's not cheap.
Look, here's the thing. Who are the 2 most popular new Marvel characters in the last 20 years?
Deadpool,
Miles Morales and
Shuri.
And Shuri is the Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years. You said 20. I got you.
Why? How many years were you saying?
Well, I thought Deadpool at first, but then I noticed you said 20. So yeah, you're right. Shuri and Miles for sure, 100%. And Riri Williams has kind of come on the come up, and she's in the new movie as well.
Exactly. So she comes in. She's in the top 5.
And I don't know if we can call Spider-Gwen a new character because Gwen's been around for a while, but she's coming up there too.
I don't think we can say Spider-Gwen, but she was great as part of the ensemble for Edge of Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Just live in a van by the river. So you can GTI.
Now I'm wondering if Jay Rivers up there, they have the Chris Farley quote. Where I'm living in a van.
That happens in Alabama a lot. People living in vans down by the river, so you never know.
Too funny. All right, so
but I say this, and this comment is a shoot. When I say Nick has a lot of stuff, and I'm not trying to like spoiler alert here, you walk around this office, things that Nick casually has in his office, other people have in a gallery. There is a frightening amount of like high quality, jaw dropping original art in this office. And Nick's like, oh yeah, I have that. Okay. Wow.
All right, let's do a CCA.
Cool, can I have that? No, get out.
All right, so we got Captain America number 695, blank variant, signed with new Captain America cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99. We have the one available for $75.
We're up and staying. X-23 was actually closer to 22 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you tend to think of her as a new character, but
Well, older if we count the vial that shows up in that random issue of Wolverine that's labeled X-23, right? Because
yeah. So real quick, Wednesday will be determined what we're doing with this. Apparently, I'm not allowed to keep it.
He really ruined it.
So, by the way, we're also going to have John Romita Sr. file copies of his personal collection.
Oh, nice.
Leaders now.
From the collection of John Romita Sr. Doesn't say senior, but original Declaration of Independence on Friday.
There's a treasure map on the back of that, Nick, so I don't know if you want
I know, Nick Cage is trying to get in the window. Forget me.
Check it out from the collection. This is a full-on statue, Ronald.
Show
Yeah,
the
look
side
at the
of it.
side, man. That is too cool.
Only 1,000 in the world, and this was from 2005. How'd you guys get on me for letting you do something with it?
I think it was in here, and you said, John, pick a statue for next week. And I said, oh, Samaritan.
Yeah, they were just sitting there one day, and everybody watching was like, "Hey, are those statues available?" And you're like, "No."
Oh, NYX number 3 was 2000. Wow, Ronald, we don't know what we're doing with the statue. You got to tune in Wednesday. But what in that name more box? Just a pic of Nick at the pool.
Nick at the pool.
Photoshopped heavily, very photoshopped.
I have a question about this, and I don't know, maybe if you know or not. Do they also have a version of this in the black suit?
No, as far as I know, no.
I love Namor's black suit. I think that's so sharp, man, when he wears that.
Yeah, no, there it is.
I am very excited for Namor in this Black Panther movie, like for real, because I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. It's my favorite superhero comic of all time. And Namor's a big part of that run, right? And so I'm really pumped to see what they're going to do with them.
Oh, Sheldon just mentioned the incredibly awesome Hulk. Amadeus Cho.
Oh, it was 2005.
It's not as popular as Miles, though, right? Not near as popular as Miles or Shuri, I think. But.
You could just put it on the ground there. You would want to cover your shirt.
I don't know. This is a Danhausen shirt. This is like a pro wrestling thing.
Oh, I thought it was for your tour on safety patrol later on at the school.
They were out in my size because they had black and orange on black. This was like last Halloween I got this. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. And everybody was like, it's like a traffic cone just walking out to the car.
All right. So, yes, Ron, that is a Spider-Man one. So,
you know what? Shirthausen, he knows.
We'll do that next, but you might need to grab it, John, because it is a wraparound.
What is it?
The X-Men number 1. All right. So, it's X-Men number 1, blank variant, signed with Spidey and Human Torch. Oh, never mind.
You got it? Okay,
Amy got it. All right. Good. Thanks, Amy. Wraparound cover by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $150. We have the one available for $75.
That's really dope. That's really, really dope.
So this one, the guys found me, and clearly it was done in 2013 because back then Ken was still putting a year next to his signature. So he stopped doing that, but he was.
He
still
likes
doing
my
that
explanation for why he stopped doing that.
What's the explanation?
His art is timeless. He said, "Yes, sure. Okay, let's go with that."
Next thing is, what do you want? All right, so we have this one available as well. All right, let's
Kenneth Gate graciously agreed to sign all the covers he did for Army of Darkness versus Reanimator, and that's very cool. I appreciate that.
For you?
Yes. Not for you. You don't read the books.
All right, Ron. Gotcha, buddy. I think Ron
wants the Spider-Man CCA.
All right, Ron. So that one's out of here. You got it, Ron. I got you, buddy. All right, so let's do another Spider-Man book. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 35, signed in silver by Nick Spencer. It's number 3 of 25, and signed. We have one available, signed in silver. Suggested retail of $69.99, and we have the one available for $30.
$20.99 here. I'm having trouble seeing the.
Yeah, this was during the Return to 2099 story arc that he did there. Yeah.
All right.
And they just brought Doom 2099 back in the pages of Savage Avengers, which has a new issue out this week. So if you're a fan of the 2099 stuff, you should be reading that book because it's got Punisher 2099 and Doom 2099 in it.
Doom 2099 was my favorite version of all those characters. I mean, 2099 was cool. Some of them not so much, but Doom 2099 I really liked.
That was good stuff. You got some early Warren Ellis work in that run. You got some Ashley Wood covers that are early for him. And my favorite thing about it was it's not a new iteration of the character. It's Victor. Victor's like,
that's the thing I liked about it. Like someone has survived.
Screw Reed Richards. I'm going to the future, and he takes over the world.
Yeah, I love that.
Just real quick, I'm going to leave it with the. Don't forget to mention that that's number 3 of 25. That's why it's only $30.
Okay.
You guys may have mentioned it. I just missed it.
All right, so
that's the Vandal Savage idea, and that's why I liked Vandal Savage, because I remember one of the issues of Justice League, I think that Howard Porter worked on. Somebody said something about Vandal Savage wanting to take over the world, and he's like, "Why? I've taken over the world 4 times." Like Vandal Savage said, I always get to take over the world. You know why? All I have to do is wait. And then there's like a Just Imagine or an Elseworlds where Superman finds himself in the future. There's Vandal Savage in charge again.
All right. So, and weird. Yes, it is. You know what? Let's just do that one next time.
Sweet.
Let's see. Oh, all right.
Yeah, Ron always gives people a shot. I mean, much credit to him. I know if I collect something, people don't have like a molecule of breathing space. I'm on it.
Oh, Ron. So the
Ron
3 of 25 that Nick was talking about was the Amazing Spider-Man number 35, signed in silver by Nick Spencer. So suggested retail of $69.99, and we have the one available for $30 for number 3. All right, so let's do.
Yeah, I love that. See, that's the kind of thing that people are like, oh, why would you spend money on that? There's 25 of these things in the world. Yeah, I want one.
So what you'll usually do is just come in and ask for one. All right.
Speaking of which, this is lovely.
No.
Tarzan Lord of the Rings. What do you mean no?
I don't even know what it is. No. All right, hold on. Let me find it here. All right, so
this is my friend Daniel Lang, who also told me if I send this to him, he will send it. He will get it signed for me. I appreciate that, Daniel.
All right, so hold on a second here. And then we'll find out what how John's vacation went. How was the vacation, John?
Too short.
Too short?
10 days doesn't quite.
Are you for real? It was too short? I mean, you were gone for 2 weeks, for God's sake.
You know what? One of the things I asked the condo complex about was there's a business center. And I was like, well, I said, I do a streaming show I'd like to call into. Do you have a streaming center? A business center? She's like, oh, yeah, let me take you right over here. So maybe if I go away for Christmas, I'll that's the next vacation we're looking at, Christmas.
Sure you're going to be able to make it?
Yeah, that's a whole like month and a half away, bro.
6 weeks. I mean, that's I don't know if I have that
kind of, man, that's tough.
I don't know if I have that kind of tread on tires anymore, but I'll give it a shot.
That's tough. All right. So who was it that asked if it was Firestar? It is. All right. Thank you, Jay.
That's what we consider. You know how long it takes my wife to unpack all that stuff?
Oh, a long time, I'm sure. All right, Dr. Strange, we had a misspelling. Sorry about that, Jay. We had Starfire instead of Firestar on there. But it is Doctor Strange #1 blank variant with Firestar cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. And Barry Windsor.
One last thing. I'm trying to find a veggie sandwich. What is it? Yes, it is Barry Windsor Smith style to that Firestar #2 cover.
So suggested retail of $149.99, and we have the one available for $75.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
All right. So the Spider-Man sold. What else sold? The commission cover art sold. How come you're not putting the sold stickers on like you used to, John? Look at this. He goes on vacation for a month and forgets
We've had to make production
what his
changes.
non-paying duties are. By the way, John not going to vacation again until December. You know what that means, right?
What?
You're taking a vacation from your vacations.
Just a little bit. I actually like that.
He rolled in the door today saying, "I feel like I need a vacation."
All right, we'll make this one $25 for limited to 25.
All right.
I did like my donated civic duty. I cater to friends' political get out the vote thing. Like, I don't care how you vote. I just think everybody should vote. A friend of mine does like a thing up in Princeton every year where basically they're just like, hey, here, we'll help you find your polling place or whatever. They never have any food. I said, the least you can do if you're going to ask people who either way and vote is hit them with like a hot dog or a hamburger or a taco or something. So I was up there pretty early this morning, sort of setting them up with, we did chicken sandwiches and we did brats. And then we did not brats. A company donated a bunch of like knock dogs and bacon and, this kind of like vegetarian type stuff.
I got to tell you, I have in the last 3 weekends, and people were trying to get me to call you. I'm like, dude, he's not going to be able to hook us up with a taco truck in one day. Okay. A lot of the places where they're throwing these tournaments, and this is for any youth sports, concessions were closed in 2 out of the 3. And I'm like, why didn't somebody just call a food truck? Dude, big business.
Food, from what I understand, a lot of these small event concessions, they're not profitable enough. And they can't get people to work them. Like, I have friends who are in the seasonal catering business. They do all these summer fairs, right? By now, they're all locked up. St. Whoever's Food Festival, that's really my buddies there. With their
Or if they can't find anybody to work the concession stand, they just need to leave a bag of chips and a bucket of cheese and some ice and some flavorings.
Well, John, all right, Ron, you got it, buddy. Hold on, Ron. Okay, I got you, Ron. So you'll enjoy this story. So I'm telling you, it's big money because think about it this way, okay? Every player on the team. So given that the course of that day, we had like 8 teams. Okay. Each team facing each other probably carries somewhere around 12 players. Okay. Well, they bring their mom and dad want to watch them play. So that's 3 person per player. Right. So you do the math. Nobody wants to leave. Right. So there was no concessions. I was actually working the tournament as a site director, and a family comes out, man. And the mom, she hooked her team up, boy. She had ground beef and those big aluminum foil pans and all the fixings and stuff. And I'm sitting there, and I figured there'd be concessions, so I brought money with me. I didn't bring anything to eat. I'm sitting there, and they set up real close to me, right? So I'm whenever I work there, I always chat with the families, trying to generate a little bit more business. My daughter gives catching lessons and hitting lessons, so I try to generate business. So I try to make friends, right? Well, now I really got to make friends. Dude's got tacos. Okay. And what happens midway through the conversation? Hey, listen, if you're hungry, we got more than enough. So I scored free food
right over there, man.
See? I figured, what could I do? John's out of town. He's on vacation. Where am I going to get my free food?
Ed Weird said he ran out of cough the other day and he made a batch of my popcorn and used his blood. Works perfectly. I'm a giver, man. I'm always glad to help people out. When I first got started in the business, I would do anything. I would feed anyone just for $1. One of the things I used to do is make up like 6-foot party subs for Pop Warner games. Like this guy's kids, whatever, and they had like this Pop Warner League or whatever. And so essentially this table in the back would be covered with sandwiches. And the mom would just come in with a knife, and one was turkey and cheese, roast beef and cheese, Italian. Like the other ones were like tuna fish or something. And then you would look at the concession stand that was there. And it was just like these terrible, like 1 day till expired chips, warm soda. And the guy came over to me one day and he's like, "You're killing me." He's like, "You're straight killing me." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not even here." He's like, "Yeah, but I know you sell them the food and they bring it in like I see you drop it off in the parking lot.
Oh my God. Well, Marcus, my taco truck story actually was coincidental. They had named this like a week ago, and the taco truck incident happened on Saturday.
I'll tell you the guy you want to find. His truck is out. He's real local in Mount Laurel. And I don't know if you got his Mom Pa's Tex-Mex.
I've been trying to hit that place
here, and he also has his truck out. He's pretty much, if I have to, someone says to me, "Hey, you got what's your go-to?" If I needed a food truck for something, I text my friend out.
That's that place that not too far from where I was, right?
It's real close.
I got to tell you, I haven't been able to hit that place yet, but I was getting ready to get off of Martyr and go back up Creek because I'm like, you know what? I might as well hit the Tex-Mex place you talked about. But then there it was. Okay, the clouds parted, the sun came shining through. Taco truck,
little food spot right there. There's a hot dog place that a guy I knew took it over. It used to be terrible. Nobody would eat there. He took it over. He signed an agreement with Dietz and Lawson. He's got good hot dogs over there now. There's an ice cream place over there. And there's a coffee bar over there. Sometimes in the morning, I'll pop over there to get, just grab a cup of coffee because it's quiet over there in the morning. They've got a nice little spot there in Rancocas where people don't have to come out onto the highway.
Right.
They can just there's a deli right there.
All right, Preston, you want a Rex cap? You'll get one.
Plus,
buddy.
I like when people make their tortillas with lard. I don't like the ones that are
You love it when people make lettuce with lard, John. Come on.
just a gentle coating,
I got to tell you, John, your popcorn recipe, okay, kind of reminds me of that deep fried butter thing. Okay.
Where were they greasing those? Where were they greasing those light poles with in Philly? Was John up there scraping it off?
I have no idea. Hey Neil, what's going on, buddy?
I'll tell you right now, you can joke all you want to. Make the popcorn that way and tell me.
I have no doubt it'll be delicious. All right, so let's do a Rex cap before we got to go to break. All right, so we did the Amazing Spider-Man number 35, signed in silver by Nick Spencer. Suggested retail of $69.99. We had it at $30, but Nick had his veggie sandwich, so that got lowered to $25 now. We have one available, number 3 of 25. Then we did Black Panther number 513, signed in silver by Francesco Francavilla. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is a best offer book, and Stevie B is currently in the lead at $20.17. Then we did Captain America blank variant signed with new Captain America cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza.
I like that a lot.
Suggested retail of $149.99, and we have the one available for $75. And then we did this is short Rex cap. We did the Fantastic Four number 33, Rob Liefeld variant cover, CGC graded 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $50. Oh, I'm sorry. And then we had Strange Tales number 107. Presumed grade of 3.0. Floating around in the open market for about $315 or higher. And is a best offer book starting at $200.
You mean out in the wild?
Out in the wild.
That's got to be an early Silver Age Namor appearance shortly after Fantastic Four number 4, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, I'm guessing that this is
pretty early. Because it's before he starts going over to Tales to Astonish and all that, right? So
I'm maybe 64, 65, 1964. I'm trying to think of exactly what the year would be.
What were you about then? 40?
Middle age then.
All right, and then finally we had Tales to Astonish, number 101. Finding the open market or in the wild. Hey, Lars, man,
the coloring in this book is really good. I mean, how old is this book? This book is easily 55 years old, and the color, this book is in nice shape.
So presumed grade of 5.5, first appearance of Destiny, and it is a best offer book starting at $50. Hey, Lars, man, what's happening, buddy? And you know what? We just finished Rex Cap, but I'm going to throw this up there anyway because I know you are a huge ASM fan. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 35, signed in silver by Nick Spencer. Suggested retail of $69.99. We were going to offer it for $30, and Nick had his veggie sandwich stupor, so that price went down to $25. And all right, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show it. Yeah, that's nice of you, Ron. All right, so real quick, we had X-Men #1 blank variant signed with Spidey and Human Torch wraparound cover sketch by Ken Hazer. Now, Lars Man, Ron has already claimed it, but he wants me to show it to you. All right, Lars Man is claiming ASM 35. Gotcha, Lars Man.
That's nice.
But I think Ron is being super generous about showing the CCA. But Ron has already claimed it. But I guess if you want it, Ron would be willing to give it up to you. I'd love this community, man. All right. So, but right now, Ron has claimed that, but unless Lars Man wants it. All right. So, you know what? We got to go to our next break. So stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Who would win, Batman or Superman? It's the age-old debate, except it's so much more complicated than that. Nerd Killer Warfare every week on The Experience is your chance to debate other nerds in the questions we've all been asking for years, except we take those debates and turn them up to 11. Go to bit.ly/EXP casting or scan the QR code to be part of the show. Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner.
Comic Collectables is here for you every Wednesday with AR Comics for two very important reasons. To sell you rare, one-of-a-kind comics that you'll love, and to confuse AR with old man talk. You see, Rex and John are, how should I put this, ancient as the roots of the mountains. So every week, Rex and John fill in AR in yet another area of pop culture that he missed because he's too young, just didn't have the time, or just really doesn't care about. It's a real public service they provide. Come buy some super rare and unique comics, while old men explain long-dead sci-fi shows to a younger man making that confused puppy face. Every Wednesday from 6 to 8 Eastern with Rex, John, and AR Comics. Comic Collectables on The Experience. Comic culture and sales. You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
All right, and we're back. I made the change, Lars Man and Ron. So Lars Man is claiming the X-Men #1 with the Spidey and Human Torch. I absolutely love this community. Ron, that is so generous of what you just did. Obviously, this happens almost every show. I think last show was Lars Man. Oh, I'm sorry, Lars Man. Hey, buddy, you know what?
Feel better, Lars Man.
Before you jump out of here, I think, did I do this? We got an ASM slab book, so I'm going to throw that up because you're not feeling well. So we have Amazing Spider-Man number 238, facsimile edition, CGC graded, 9.8. Suggested retail of $99.99, and we have the one available for $75.
Oh, that's a nice book.
All right. So wanted to throw that up there for Lars Man before he takes a bit of a rest. Sorry you're not feeling well, buddy. Unfortunately, it is that time of year.
People are a little
Yeah, let me know. Hopefully Lars Man is still there. If not, I can always email him.
Monkeypox, scroll virus. There's something every week.
Thanks for sharing stuff, buddy.
I'll take it
Scroll virus.
All right, you have that one. No problem, Lars Man.
I want to give a shout out real quick to we used to talk about this a lot. Obviously, the experience is a collective of retailers, I guess, is the best way to put it. We'd like to always give a shout out to the local stores. A new store opened in Mystic in Myrtle Beach when I was down there.
A what store?
A comic book store. It's called Beach Bar. It's right off the beach. Great owner named Rick. It's a lot better than having to leave the boardwalk area, and the comic book store is about 7 or 8 miles inland. Great store there, no wrong, but it's nice to have a store right on the boardwalk. The guy is doing some trading cards. He's doing some vintage books. I picked up a couple things I needed. He gave me a nice deal on Shadow 12, Mike Kaluta cover from 1973 DC. I picked up a couple books for a friend of mine that, not buying books right now. He's having a hard time, so I was able to pick up a few Marvel team-ups from the late 70s for him. But these are the kind of stores, try to support if you can. Yeah. You know what I mean? Try to help out your local stores. We don't mention that as much as we used to, but for newer viewers or whatever, the local comic book shop can really use your support. You know what I mean? Not to get on the soap. Well, maybe there's a little bit of a soapbox.
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, but it's relevant. I mean, I love food trucks because the food is good. But not always. I mean, it's hit or miss.
People would say that to me all the time, like, "Oh, you're a food truck expert. The food was terrible there." The food is terrible at 5-star restaurants.
Yeah, it can be.
You know what I mean? I'm in Vegas and I'm dropping $160, and I can't wait to get back to my room to order a crab cake sandwich because the food is terrible.
So that taco truck, food was excellent, and they had the Mexican soda that I love so much. What is it? Doritos? Yeah. And I know I'm supporting a family, and her daughter was there as well. So there were the whole family is involved in it. Nothing, So I'm spending my money there as opposed to a Taco Bell. Okay, it makes me a little happier. Food's better. But beyond that, I know. Hey, Alec, what's going on, buddy?
Hey,
I know my money is not going to some big fat CEO at Yum Foods. Okay, all right, who's worried about what his bonus is going to be. So I love and it's an adventure, So sometimes it's bad, and you learn something, But again, I love food trucks personally. I just that was like the best surprise of the day. Is I'm pulling home thinking, what am I going to eat now? I got to grab something to eat, and then boom, food truck. I'm like, yo.
Food trucks have the advantage of being where you are. This is the thing. Obviously, they're smaller, this, that, whatever. A lot of times restaurant lobbies take action in local government to block food trucks. Trust me when I tell you, nobody ever said, I'm going out for a nice seafood dinner, and at the last minute they saw a taco truck on the corner and whipped away and just got tacos. That's never happened. People who are eating on food trucks want to eat on food trucks. People who want to drop $150 a person on a high-level dinner, they're going to do that.
Right. I agree.
I would urge everyone, if, again, talking about voting tomorrow, if anybody's got any sort of initiative or proposition about food trucks, you always want food trucks in your community.
I do anyway. Where Rubenstein says the worst steak I have ever had was also the most expensive steak I ever had. I believe
Bobby Flay Steakhouse for Rubenstein?
Oh, man.
I had Bobby Flay's in Atlantic City. That was back when I was doing my radio show out of there. I was not kind.
What I like about food trucks is like you'll go to a restaurant, right? And I'm sure John has seen this, and it's a terrible thing where you go to a restaurant and their menu is like 80 pages or something. It's like 10 pages of they're trying to do everything. But food trucks are more like what's the word? I can't think of it right now, but more like streamlined about what they're trying to do, right? Like we got food trucks locally that just do lobster rolls. We got ones that just do hot dogs, ones that just do burgers. And that's what I like about food trucks is the speciality of it, I guess.
There's a food truck that was outside of, and you'll appreciate this, the Mystic Island, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, Class A ball club right down the street from my hotel. They had food trucks come in every day for food. They had one out there, and it was a simple truck called Got Brats. And the line for that, and it was just brats on a pretzel roll with like a mustard sauce and a little bit of crunchy peanuts on top. And the number of people waiting for these was insane. There's another food truck out there that they had first inning, second inning, and it's all different foods, right? There were people out there getting like ninth inning platters, which is like a rotisserie chicken, like sitting on a plate with a bunch of other stuff. And then when they're gone, they're gone. And I was just like, that's exactly what you're looking for.
All right. So Joel says he went to Ruth Chris in Philly during the restaurant week, and they served me the chain. I don't get that.
Chain is a part of the steak, the cow, the animal. The chain for a long time was called the butcher's cut or the chef's cut, right? Because it's not pretty. It's got silver skin and stuff. I know a little bit about butchery. I'm kind of out of practice, but there was a while where I worked with a butcher because I just wanted to learn what to do. But the chain, if you get it and cook it right, there's not too many versions of beef that's better than that, other than like birria.
Gotcha. I've been to Ruth Chris. Prices are ridiculous. I mean, it's a good steak, but still, I Prospectors, I would go there instead. Yeah,
Rubenstein said he was at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. There are places in Atlantic City that have some of the best food, right? But there's a lot of places there where it's just a celebrity chef's name, and I don't feel bad hammering the guy because he's a multimillionaire. Bobby Flay asked me to go to his burger place. The burger was mid. He asked me to go to a steakhouse. The steakhouse is mid. I'm dropping $125 a person.
What was that?
Now, maybe if Bobby was making that for you himself, right? But that's
what by the way. Everybody drinks.
Well, no, you're right. That's the thing too. Bobby Flay put his name on hot sauces and this and that or whatever. It's miles away. I've actually eaten at a real Bobby Flay restaurant in New York. Bar Americana is some of the best food in that city. Getting a reservation is almost impossible. And getting food that Bobby actually cooked is like holy grail food. I was in there with the College of Surgeons. It's a pretty high-level organization for surgeons. And they were in there. They rented the whole place out. And that's when Bobby showed up to shake hands with people, get pictures, and cook food for them. Because these are like $1,500 a plate dinners.
Well, didn't Bobby Flay have that burger joint in Cherry Hill Mall?
Yeah, but Bobby's Burger Palace.
That was it was really
telling me you're a genius because you put potato chips on hamburgers.
It was okay. I mean, it was way overpriced.
We all did that when we were 8 years old. Come on, man.
I was going to say, everybody who ate in the cafeteria, the burger was disgusting. So you put on a ton of ketchup and you put on potato chips and you choked it down and then you went out to play with your friends.
Well, the other problem was right near there, they had opened that Red Robin, which is reasonably priced. I can get a beer, with my burger.
You get endless fries.
And you get endless fries. Okay, so I took my daughter there once to the Bobby Flay burger joint, and I'm like, dude, what am I paying?
I love that Robin fries, man. It's that seasoning. It's just Cajun seasoning, I swear, is all it is. But that stuff is so good.
It's a nice place to go and sit and eat. Nothing terribly special. And
it's one of those things where it really is. I know they use the term mid a lot now, but it really is mediocre, middle of the road, whatever you want to call it. It's not terrible. I understand the way they cook their burgers is you can have it medium or well done.
Right.
They put it through the burger oven once, and if you say well done, they put it through a second time. There's no rare, mid-rare, reseason, this and that. There's none of that. It's just they bring a burger to your plate with that's okay, and then they bring you their French fries. Culinarily speaking, the French fries will probably tastier than the burger. You're getting beers with your friends. After 3 beers, you don't care how the burger tastes.
You talking about Red Robin?
Yeah.
But the thing is with Red Robin, if you order a medium burger, you're going to get it medium well. So, I mean, that's how it is medium well or extremely well done.
Corporate people look at this is a perfect example. I'm watching Hell's Kitchen, and Gordon Ramsay tells someone, send this back, because if I sold it in my restaurant, they would send it back. Then I watch him on MasterChef teaching someone how to cook, and the same exact doneness of the steak. That's perfect. Hold on a second, man. Just because you're a restaurant doesn't mean you have to over or undercook stuff. I don't care what makes you comfortable. I'm the one paying the bill. So if I like my steak, they call it Pittsburgh. It's black, raw, and black. That's how I love my steak. Most of the places I go to that are a chain or have somebody's name on it won't cook it that way. So I don't go anymore. I find a steakhouse, I call up and I say, hey, ask your chef if he knows what Pittsburgh is. And if they know, I go. If they
Do
don't,
you ever get the answer? It's a city in Pennsylvania.
City in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
no, the kind of places I call it, no.
The home-
That's when you're talking to John and you hear the dial tone.
I think a lot of the corporate places, because they deal with so many Kyle and Karen types, right? I think they're scared.
Why is he hammering Kyle? The guy pushing the buttons for the show.
Not that
I
Kyle.
didn't mean that Kyle in particular, but I bet he's probably a handful at a burger joint. I'm just going to say.
Oh God, too funny. What? Where Ron goes, where I live, that's called an accident victim. Oh my God! All right, so let's get to another book. We've got X-Men number 85, signed by Alan David and Mark Farmer, both of whom I believe live in Europe. So they're tough England, I think, right? So they're tough things to get, obviously. We just retail $49.99. We have the one available for $35.
You know, Alan Davis, a supremely important creator. You know, he worked with Chris Claremont on Excalibur. Yep. He did Clandestine, which had just recently, some of those characters showed up in Miss Marvel. Mark Farmer is his perfect inker. They are a perfect team. They're really, really solid. So that's really cool. It's really special.
They probably did the best, or one of the top 2-3 Elseworlds books when that was a thing. Remember all through the 90s and the 2000s?
Right.
They did a book called The Justice League, The Nail. And I got to tell you, some of those books, I mean, I guess if you want to credit Gotham by Gaslight as the first Elseworlds book, even though they didn't quite call it that then, and then maybe cap it off with Kingdom Come, that era. The Nail is probably one of the best things you got from that era. By far. You pick that up today. The art is beautiful. You're picking this up and you're like, why aren't these guys doing more work?
The Nail is really good. It is. And I'm just noticing this is a newsstand version of this book, which this is like a late 90s, early 2000s book. That's really tough to find a newsstand from that era because there was no newsstand.
All right. So Ron's claiming it. You got it, Ron. It's yours, buddy.
Yeah, Sheldon just said Davis is a top 5 artist. We've had this conversation before. It's really hard to do top 5 artists, not because you can't think of 5, but it's who you exclude. Like if I throw out 5 people, maybe I forget Alan Davis, and people are like,
right,
how are you forgetting Alan Davis? I'm like,
I mean this as a compliment. Alan Davis makes me think of a more plasticsy Neil Adams, if that makes sense.
No, I think that's spot on. I think that's a great sort of, and that's a perfect example. Who do you put on that top 5 list? Do you put Alan Davis on the list, or you put Neil Adams on the list? Their styles are super similar.
Neil Adams.
Yeah, I'd go Neil.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's difficult. Who are you taking off a list?
Because it's all subjective when we talk about art. You know what I'm saying? We can say who are technically the best, but some of the people that we think are technically, like their technical skills are some of the best, may not be people's favorite artists, right?
Well,
so like
on Robbie's show, we break that rule all the time. He goes top 5, and we come walking in with 10, 12, 15.
14.
He does it too, though. He breaks his own rule. He goes top 5, and we before we start showing, how many you have, Robbie? Well, I have about 15 with 9 honorable mentions.
We had this conversation one day on Facebook, and I said my number 1 artist is Alex Ross, and somebody said he's not an artist; he's a painter.
So painting.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with
it's not a car;
Facebook,
it's an automobile.
I'm not going to argue. I mean, I was just
now, Alex Ross isn't necessarily a cartoonist, if that's what they were saying, right? But he is a sequential.
That's the way I took it. You know what I mean? He's not.
He's no Robert Crumb, but
yeah, he's and then there are people when you start talking about this, like how do you not have Will Eisner on the list? I mean, people use the term. He literally wrote the book on this, right?
He created graphic. He's the one that like did the first graphic novel allegedly, right? With Contract with God, like fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, so it's very, very difficult.
And that dude was relevant for like 70 years. Like that's what's crazy about him, man.
Almost every artist, I don't know about today, but almost every artist I liked from like the late 70s till, pretty much the 2000s have Will Eisner's book on their shelf. And they credit that as being one of like the top 3, 4, 5 books they ever read when they learned how to draw for comics.
Jay, there is no criteria. We make this stuff up, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, it all depends on what you like or whatever.
Yeah,
Right? Like, how do you?
It's very subjective.
You know, like, oh, so you're going to bump Gil Kane off a list? You know, or whoever. Thank you, Lyle. It's very difficult.
What's going on, Lyle?
I'm glad you joined us. Yeah, it's hard. It's super hard.
Many people that come into my shop and they're like, "Hey, Robbie, who are some of your favorite artists? Show me some of their work." And I'll show them like Daniel Clowes, and they'll just be like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "He's amazing," and it's like it's very subjective, right? Like the cool thing is, here's what I say: if you have made a name for yourself in some kind of form or fashion doing comic books at any time in the last 100 years, I think you're a good artist because it's hard to make a comic, y'all.
I agree. Really it's a lot of work. I mean, a perfect example, I think a lot of it too depends on what you like as a person. For example, a horror fan, like Robbie, I'm a horror fan too, but I would put myself as a comic book fan first. A horror fan is going to rank Francisco Francovilla's work higher than I would rank Chris Sprouse from doing Tom Strong.
Tom Strong was such
but you know what I mean? But
and fans, we're gonna love like Toddleben and we're gonna love Wrightson. You know, there's a certain thing that you're looking
at. There's people like Bernie Wrightson's another one. You're talking about top 5 artists. How do you not put him on the list?
Right.
You can literally click on any image he does, and that image says I belong in the top 5.
Well, that's pretty much why whenever Robbie says top 5, you don't even say that anymore. You know, you just say your favorite. You know, when you send me the email, your favorite whatever. You know, because we top 5 would never work for us. We break that rule every single time.
Yeah, well, we also got to always have extras and honorable mentions because, you know, there's always crossover when 2 people are doing a list together and whatnot.
So Ron wants to know, where does Mike Zeck sit on the list? Then Brett Blevins.
What do you do with John Byrne? Artist or writer? Both? There are people that would put him on both a top 5 writer and a top 5 artist list.
Right.
Yeah, like I love Mike Zeck, but then you start getting into weird, like the criteria, right? Like, okay, like can this person have just done a handful of books? Because look at what Mike Zeck's output is, and I love Mike Zeck, but look at his output compared to John Byrne. Like, there is like the prolificness of an artist is part of that criteria. It's
how long have you been at the top of the food chain? I mean, Byrne will pick up something if he wanted to today, and he would do an X-Men book, and that book would be a bestseller.
Right. No, I agree.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying if he wanted to.
That's why I love it when there are artists that have hit a point, right, where they don't have to do anything new, right? Like Mark Silvestri is one of those dudes. Mark Silvestri co-created Image. He co-created Witchblade in the Darkness. This dude doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his life. And he just did that Batman Joker series, and it's phenomenal. And he's doing it just to be like, you know what? I'm showing all these kids that I still got it. And he does. And I love it when you have an artist who they're doing it just because it's for the art's sake, just to kind of almost be like, I still got it. I love
John Romita Jr. Still an output. And let's be honest, that guy could just go to cons, smack hands, do TV, a few sketches, you know, tell Dynamic Forces, I'm going to do a book this year and that's it, you know, a special cover for something. He's still out there burning through, you know, issue after issue after issue.
So I think such a cool dude, man. I got to meet John Romita Jr. this year. I have never met somebody as cool as that guy. Like, he just took so much time with everybody, but still got through his line. He was so many creators when they have this window to sign, they're like late, you know what I'm saying? Or they don't show up and you're like, bro, come on, dude. He was there early. He stayed late. He was so freaking cool, man.
Wow. Not as cool as John Cole.
I'll tell you right now, the single most important thing, I don't expect people like, I've been going to cons a long time. I waited on a line to see Alex Ross. Alex Ross was very pleasant and personable, but you did not have time to ask questions. The line, this was in Chicago several years ago, and people were waiting, and they were telling you right out, 1 book, 1 signature, GTFO. He does not have all day. My understanding was, I don't know if he still does, but at the time he lived in the Chicagoland area. So he shot over to the con, signed a ton of stuff, and left. And, you know, he was very pleasant, but there's a big difference between that. And I've told this story before. I'm on the line talking to Jim Steranko, and Francisco Francovilla walks by.
That's a drop right there, people. So pick up your glass.
And as big an artist as Francisco Francovilla is, he's as excited as I am to be talking to Jim Steranko.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I always talked about, it was like, this must be what like a disturbance in the force is. Jim is at the desk, Francisco's here, and I'm standing in the middle. And it's like, which doesn't belong and why? But, you know, and he's a super nice guy. I reached into my bag. He signed like a bunch of Black Beetle stuff for me while Jim was signing his stuff and he was signing Black Beetle for me. I mean, that's sort of when someone takes the time to do that on the floor at the biggest comic book convention in the world, that's
and then you forgot to mention that the other person shows up and has you signing cans of lard while Francisco's signing.
Your popcorn changed my life. I know.
All right, let me get to another book here. Triple B says, damn, 2 more down. All right, so we have Batman number 50, CSA Wedding Cake Virgin exclusive, signed by Tom King and Clay Mann.
That's
suggested retail of $69.99, and we have the one available for $19.40. I guess the year that Catwoman first appeared,
1941.
Joker, maybe
1941 or 1940. Well, we have it in 1940, so it's a penny off.
What a Joker appeared the same year, right? So it's probably 1940, right?
So, all right.
I mean,
so
Catwoman's got some nice collars there, man.
Yeah, I like the
scribbled
collars
on Joker's forehead. I don't want to see that.
That would be Tom King.
That would be Tom.
Oh, I just thought he was like really weirdly angry with those forehead wrinkles.
Tom, you are a legendary creator, but man, we're trying to sell your signature. You got to put a little bit more into it.
I love how Tom King will do remarks, and he'll just do like a stick figure and go, "I'm sorry, Tom King."
See, all right, I'd be fine with that. I'd totally be fine with that.
Well, it's $19.40, so you can't go wrong there. All right, let's do another CCA as well. This is a cool one. FF number 1, blank variant, signed with Silver Surfer cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99, and we have the one available for $75.
Man, there's like a lot of Kirby energy in this.
Yeah, right.
Didn't it make you think of those black light posters, man?
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
So when it came to us, just to give Mariano enough credit here, when it came to us, we had the inked version of the Surfer, right? And then Mariano felt like it needed more in the background, so he actually drew that window in the back. It's amazing watching him work. Yeah, it really is.
Because he was like, "How am I supposed to color this? It's the Silver Surfer." Like,
right? Come on, man. That's like we give him 3 books: Silver Surfer, Moon Knight.
Yeah, he had to scratch his head a couple times to figure out what to do there.
It's like that meme with the Star Wars coloring book, and it's Kylo Ren and some stormtroopers, and then somebody just colors in the lightsaber and like, "Guess I'm done."
Guess I'm done.
Oh man, too funny. All right, so that's available, and let's see. All right, you know what? We'll do the Rex cap again when we come back from our next break. Let me throw a Dynamite book out there while we're at it. All right, so we have Lord of the Jungle number 1, FOC incentive virgin cover by Danilo Gallego.
Yep.
All right, suggested retail of $50, and we have the one available for $19.12 for Tarzan's first appearance.
It's a very Hercules-inspired cover, right? Fighting the
lion. It does have that look.
I got to tell you, this is sort of – I'm super excited about this relaunch of Tarzan. This is – I mean, Dynamite's done Tarzan before. Dark Horse has done Tarzan. Tarzan's been done by DC. I don't know, maybe Marvel over there. I don't know.
Probably everyone.
The covers for this are ridiculously good. The regular covers, the FOs – so good.
Is Tarzan public domain at this point? Do y'all know?
No, it's Dynamite.
I don't know.
Honestly, I would.
All right, Preston, you got it, buddy.
The only one you can't claim is this one. This one's mine.
That one is also available for sale tonight. Okay.
No, my friend Daniel Main is going to sign this.
Juergens is writing that one, right?
He is.
Nice.
All right, you got it, Preston. I got you down, buddy.
Can you get a Death of Tarzan? Are we going to get a Death of Tarzan with a fold-out back cover and all that stuff?
Oh. Daniel Main talked about the hardest thing about the cover isn't Tarzan. The hardest thing is getting the gorilla on this cover right between realistic and, like, you don't want to be too cartoony.
Right.
You know what I mean? People were like, he's trying to find it somewhere between a white ape from Mars and Magilla Gorilla. You know, the white apes from Mars and John Carter, they're like hyper, like, you know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're just done like to a ludicrous degree. Saber-toothed fangs, forearms, a whole bit. Then you get like Gorilla Man in Marvel, and I almost feel like that's like a sitcom from the 60s. I'm a man, I'm a gorilla, I'm Gorilla Man. And I'm like, even Jason Aaron couldn't make the guy serious.
And weird Tarzan versus Great Ape.
Great Ape for the win, 100%. Come on.
Yeah, Great Ape, man.
Let's hit a slab. All right, Ron, you know what? Let's hit another slab before we have to go to break. Let's do, let's see. Star Wars Vader Down #1, Dynamic Forces Edition, CGC graded, 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have the one available for $77.
This is a cool series. I don't know if you read this, but this is a cool series.
Yeah, it's a great cover. And I'll tell you this, out of all the recent Marvel Star Wars stuff, Vader Down was my favorite story. That was amazing. There's that bit where Vader's like, all I smell and see are like fear and dead men or something. He just gets slaughtered. Oh my goodness. It's like basically the rebellion thinks they have Vader cornered. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So
you're not supposed to root for quote unquote the bad guy, but the rebellion in this particular series, they're so smarmy about we got him. And I'm thinking, do you really? Did you want to get stuck? We've got him boxed in. Okay, man.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to our next break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute, and we'll do the Rex Cap when we come back.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out. There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hey, Thomas, we did just show the Vader. Let me show it again. It is Star Wars Vader Down, #1, Dynamic Forces Edition, CGC graded 9.8.
And I think both Robbie and I agree of this Marvel Star Wars stuff. It's kind of hard to beat this.
Right.
You know what I mean? The story, not just the story, but the art on these books, too, is very sort of, You know what I mean? Like it connects you to like this modern age of Star Wars. I really like it.
All right, so it's a suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available tonight for $77. Thomas, if you're interested, if you are, just throw it up in the chat. Jay, our producer, will throw up a link. Fill out the submission form. Very important. This way, we have your ship to address, and we'll invoice you the next day. All right. Okay. So, I said we do the Rex cap, so that's what we'll do. So. Haven't thrown it out there yet, but let's throw it out there. Dynamite 10-pack reader set, 10 random Dynamite titles. Suggested retail of $40 or higher, so each one will have a $3.99 cover price or higher. And as always, as a thank you to our viewers, we have it for $5, so 50 cents a copy. All right, so let's do the Rex cap. All right, so we showed Black Panther number 513, signed in silver by Francesco Francavilla. It is a best offer book, suggested retail of $69.99. Stevie B is currently in the lead at $20.17. Then we had for the Jets bill scores of 22.17. And then we had Batman number 50, CSA Wedding Cake Virgin exclusive, signed by Tom King and Clay Mann. Suggested retail of $69.99. Deal of the day. We have the one available for $19.40. Then we did FF number 1, blank variant, signed with Silver Surfer, cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99. We have the one available for $75. Then we did Captain America number 695, blank variant, signed with new Captain American cover sketch by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza. Suggested retail of $149.99, and we have this one available for $75. Then we did Amazing Spider-Man number 238, facsimile edition, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $99.99, and we have the one available for $75.
There's something about Hobgoblin that just takes you back to that era. Certain characters are sort of rooted in certain eras. Like even though I see it more modern, like if I see Darkhawk, that takes me to like a certain era. You know what I mean? I realize that, like the character's active now, but to me, characters like that, like the New Warriors characters, to me, those characters are all rooted in that sort of just pre-Image era, I guess we call it.
All right. Then we did Star Wars Vader Down, number 1, Dynamic Forces edition, CGC graded, 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $77.
I like them. Wow, this is very cool. Whoever gets this is going to be happy.
So then we did Fantastic Four number 33, Liefeld variant cover, CGC graded, 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. We have the one available for $50. All right, then we did Strange Tales number 107, the first of 2 Silver Age comics we have on sale tonight. You can find in the open market or the wild for around $315, maybe higher. It is a best offer book starting at $200, and Robbie was right. It was our first crossover, 1963, and it's the earliest appearance, first appearance outside of FF.
Nice.
John Phillips.
This is the original song of Fire and Ice, right? Even though Submariners in Water is not ice, but ice and water is the same thing, whatever.
Edward just said it too. Hobgoblin takes him back to his dorm days watching the Spider-Man cartoon series in the 90s.
Where they didn't use Green Goblin, they used Hobgoblin instead. I remember that. I love it. And right now, Hobgoblin is back in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, new issue out this week, actually. And Romita Jr.'s drawn him again. And I love Romita Jr.'s Hobgoblin. It's so good.
To bring the conversation full circle, yes, John Romita Jr. again, doing current work with I think, let's put it this way. I'm not trying to harsh anyone's mellow, but if you're talking about top 5 artists and criteria, I think longevity has to be in there.
Right.
Because as much as I respect the work, if somebody draws for 3 or 4 years and moves on, totally fine, man. You move on, good luck with your life or whatever. But it's almost like Hall of Fame consideration, right? If somebody has a few good seasons, you're going to put them in ahead of somebody that's got a 15-year career.
Right. Agree.
Probably not.
Is that why Bill Eisner better than Stephen Platt, for instance?
Yeah, I mean,
one of those guys that had like a 3-year run and then was just gone. You know,
even like Charles Vess. There was a time where people were walking over broken glass to get his stuff. When was the last time he did something?
Right.
And again, I wish him well. I'm not trying to bag on the guy or anything, but you know what I mean? We just mentioned John Romita Jr., who was drawing then. He's drawing now.
Right.
I mean, you see the guy on TV. He's on cons. It's like the guys like the Energizer Bunny.
All right. So finally, last book in the Rex Cap, Tales to Astonish, number 101. You can find it in the wild probably for around $80. It is a best offer book starting at $50. Presumed grade is a 5.5 and the first appearance of Destiny.
And I'll tell you right now, if you laugh at In the Wild, you be at a major con on the last day when people are really starting, the rubber hits the road, when people have been eyeing these books for 3 or 4 days, and now it's Sunday, and it's 2:30, and you know what I mean? The vendors are kind of like, it's been fun, and it's been real, but I'm going home.
Right.
And people are starting to really kind of, run from one table to another, and they've got their budget, and they got to figure out, do I want Captain America 64? Do I want Ghost Rider number 1? And what can you know what I mean? It really does get a little bit crazy.
All right, so let's get to the last of the books here. All right, so let's do Action Comics number 974, signed in Heat Vision Red by Dan Jurgens.
Nice.
And it's just a retail of $69.99. It is 4 of only 15 signed, and we have the one available for $40.
It's a great cover. Clay Man, I believe, but that's a great cover. I love that. It reminds me of Superman 3 when he has to fight himself. Remember that? Superman 3 is underrated. Or maybe
Ron just says the great Sunday sale. I'll tell you right now, you go to a major con on Sunday, put your chin strap on. Like, there are people, they've decided, they've had a lot of fun. A guy like me, I'm having a great time. But now comes time to buy my books, and then I'm going back to the hotel. And I am not above using my size to just buck somebody out. And just
kick that old lady. Knock her off for a walker. Go ahead,
you
John.
know what? If you're in a wheelchair, I consider you having a weapon. I'm just on my feet, so sorry, man. You got to slide to the side. I'm trying to pick up some Doc Savage.
You remember the wheelchair race between George Costanza and those people in that Seinfeld episode?
That's what I was referencing. That's a nice pickup.
So,
I'm very fortunate because most of what I pick up now, I'm going to say maybe the last 15 years, I'm not buying comics as much as I'm buying magazines. So the people picking up stuff from Curtis and Warren, it's an older crowd. We're kind of mellow. It's a little bit like our community where someone will say to me, hey, man, weren't you looking for like Erie 71? Yeah. Here, you take this and I'm going to take that one. So everybody goes home happy. That doesn't happen with,
Well, you don't want somebody to break a hip. All right.
We are an old group, man. I'll tell you right now, when you go to that famous Monsters of Filmland nostalgia booth, when somebody calls me kid, I know that, hey, kid, take a look at this. Yeah, I know. Pop.
Did you guys hear that Corey Taylor bought the famous Monsters brand and the guy from Slipknot or whatever, and he's planning on like doing something with it? Like, I'm really excited to see what can happen.
They have a picture of him in a famous Monsters vintage t-shirt from the 70s. I don't know how old that guy is, but he's got like a real connection to that horror / magazine format.
Yeah. I'm not even a fan of Slipknot, but I love Corey Taylor as a commentator on horror films. I even got a famous Monsters t-shirt of Pinhead that I adore. Unfortunately, I outgrew it. So I got to try to ungrow back into it, I guess.
Hopefully on Wednesday, I'll have my neon green stencil of Barnabas Collins.
Oh, we look forward to that, John.
I look forward to it, man. Dark Shadows is one of those things.
Breath.
And you probably aren't even aware, but Dynamite Comics published Dark Shadows. It was some of the best stuff that's been out there since the show.
With some Francisco Francavilla covers, I believe.
Yes, there was Francisco Francavilla covers, and that was sort of almost like a little bit more of a restrained style because Barnabas Collins is sort of, he's the man at a time. He's like the more genteel sort of, he's not. There's a great line in Dark Shadows and Vampirella where Vampirella is almost laughing at Barnabas Collins for being so, polite and proper or whatever. And then they get into a fight and she watches him like snap somebody's neck. And like, oh, okay, so you can fight.
Thank you very much, Jay, for helping me segue into this. So Batman Beyond #1, blank variant signed with a Terry McGinnis Batman cover sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99, and we have the one available tonight for $45.
Wow.
Striking cover. Very Bruce Timm. Very Bruce Timm.
I was going to say there's a lot of Bruce Timm energy in here.
All
Which I
right.
think is intentional.
All right. So
does Ron see this? Does he have one? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. We've had this on before. So all
that
right.
means he probably has one.
So let's go through the last 4 books. So we have Garbage Pail Kids Origins #2, Incentive Virgin cover by Becky Sharp. Suggested retail of $50, and we have the one available for $40.
And if you think we talk about Dynamite,
my favorite Garbage Pail Kid, Nasty Nick. I tell you, I love it.
There's some very cool alternate covers out there for this. I really like it. One from Ken Hazer. I'll tell you right now, if you think we talk a lot about Dynamite books, wait till Gargoyles comes out.
Yeah, right.
We're going to go to a third hour where I talk
Congrats, y'all. 100K. That's awesome, by the way. That's so cool. Man.
Yeah, I said this on Facebook, and of course, because he's a humble dude, he didn't say anything. But I said it right out. He caps lock. Nick is a genius. It's just, I mean, I'd say it right out. I mean, we have a lot of.
I love it when he bleeps himself.
Well, I don't want Kyle to have to go back and post and remove it, but he is. I mean, who had Gargoyles on their radar?
Hey,
for 100K.
Hey,
Darkwing Duck is next.
Join me and Robbie on Fridays. We curse all the time on that show.
Oh yeah, on PCP we're golden, man. We can say whatever we want. It's great,
But and like I said, Nick is
just wait till y'all get Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, because if y'all get Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, I'm going to be calling Nick every hour with a pit.
All right, let me get to the last 3 books. All right, so we have Lady Hell #3, FOC Incentive, Ultraviolet 1-in-7 ratio cover by Lucio Purio. Suggested retail of $50, and we have the one available for $15.
Oh wow!
I think someone asked me on Twitter, "What is it with all the demonic women at Dynamite?" And I was like, "People keep buying the books, so why?" I didn't really have like an answer. It's not like Nick woke up one day 20 years ago and said, "I'm going to do demony women." He just, that's what horror is a thing. We've talked about this a bunch of times.
Right.
Horror is really driving a lot of non-superhero comics. I mean, I don't know if anybody would dispute that. I don't think, right? I mean, the horror books from
horror always rises in times of like social turmoil, and I think we've been through that over the last few years. So I think
I very much.
All right, Preston is claiming it. You got it, Preston.
Nice. There's some good. This has been one of the best years for horror films, for instance, in a long time. In a very long. There's so many good, solid horror films this year. Pearl, X. I just watched Barbarian. Whoa, Barbarian's amazing. That's some good stuff out there right now.
Did you see Smile yet?
I haven't watched Smile yet. That's going to be next on my radar. I did watch
Smile
Terrifier 2, and I was rather disappointed, actually. I'm not really a fan of the Terrifier films, but I watched Barbarian, and it was my favorite movie of 2022 for a day and a half till I watched The Northman. So
day and a half. All right, so last 2 books, Lady Hell Strikes premium metal cover by Lucio Purio. Suggested retail of $100, and we have the one available for $50.
That is awesome. You can also find a cosplayer version of this with 2 very cool cosplayers, Rachel Holland and Megan Random. They probably, I saw some of the proofs did it, they probably worked about 100 angles to get this sort of just the way it's supposed to be. Their recreation is good. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for cosplayers in 3 dimensions to do what, these super talented artists do in 2 dimensions.
All right, so last book of the night, Invaders Now, #2, Dynamic Forces variant, signed by Alex Ross. And we have the one available for $200. And look at that, you got Submariner up there. So I heard that they pronounced Namor's name funny in the movie.
Oh, don't tell me they say like Namor or something like
that.
Yeah,
it's heavily accented.
Why did they do that? Why did I hate it when they do that? It's Namor. They did that with Shang-Chi. Is Shang-Chi? No, it's not. We've been here longer than you, MCU. Okay, we know how to say Namor.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to be like culturally sensitive or whatever.
I'll be honest.
Namor is a made-up name. So I don't know. Ron wants the lady Hell.
The whole idea with Namor was Phil Everett.
You got it, Ron.
Bill Everett said he wanted something that sounded regal and Roman, so it's just the word Roman.
It's the word Roman backwards.
Well,
and I think in one of the Image books, their undersea character, his name was Roman. I was like, man, you guys.
There is one that they've done in the TV series movies, the mini series, and then in the latest movie, Dune movie, they keep pronouncing the Harkonnen name as Harkonnen.
Oh, yeah,
that's not the way it's pronounced.
Hey, they didn't get Muad'Dib wrong, did they?
No, they did not.
Did they? I was gonna say they get Muad'Dib wrong.
No, my biggest pet peeve in all this is Ra's al Ghul. But people nowadays, it's Roz. I'm like, no, it's Ra's al Ghul. Watch the animated series. It's Ra's al Ghul. Like, come on. Why is and when I say it on my channel, people correct me. And I'm like, look, young man, I've been here for a while. It's Ra's al Ghul.
Put the glasses on. Let's see here, young man.
Young man. What's he talking about? What, he ran into it, had an argument with a 5-year-old?
I'm hoping DC follows through with, I read this a couple of years ago, that eventually Damian Wayne becomes Ibn al-Zufash. And I'm waiting to watch comic fans mangle that. I've had friends that have served in the military that speak Arabic that have said that is how that would be pronounced. His name is Ibn al-Zufash. And I know someone's going to call him Iben, and it's going to be...
Marcus, it sounds different underwater.
That's funny.
Now, if they do call him Namor or something like that, I hope it's Namor the Submariner. And then we're cool.
I'd be so happy. Unfortunately, it is not.
Ron, Nick's going to have to answer that question. I don't know the answer to that.
I didn't see any variant stuff solicited for gargoyles.
Well, I'm sure it's a more complicated license. Again, I'm not involved in that in that end of the.
I'm just saying I haven't seen it. That
I don't know. So Nick will have to answer that question.
Can someone send in the publishers?
You got a clap on? Yeah, it's like you have the clapper.
Yeah, the lights are off.
Yeah, I know, right? I think should have killed them.
Talk about some outdated technology, man. Does anybody even use the clapper anymore? Now you can just be like, turn the lights orange.
There is some. Listen, I do not have Alexa. I do not talk to Siri.
You're practically Amish.
Kind of, yes. I am. I'm getting rid of my car soon. I've got an eye on a horse and buggy. Okay. I don't really go far anymore. So what do I need a car for, right? And the horse could be my friend. Oh
my goodness. We're watching baseball. Leave us alone.
I'm serious. I told you now, right? So there's a town right next to, not too far from here, Cherry Hill, right?
Cherry Hill.
So my daughter, she calls me. She goes, "Oh, Dad, there's some great new restaurants opening up in Cherry Hill." And I caught myself, and I've become the old man. And I'm like, "Oh my God, hon, Cherry Hill, that's so far. Literally, it's like 6 miles. Yeah. 6 miles." I'm like, "Oh, that's so far. I'm not going to be in Cherry Hill." It's gotten to the point where, because I live in the same town our office is in, so does John, as a matter of fact.
I think you live closer than I do.
Oh, way closer, dude. You're on that other end of town, right by Spencer Park. But you're way out. It's like, oh, wow, that's really far. John's on the other end of
Mount
town.
Laurel is weirdly shaped. It's kind of long and narrow, and the highway cuts. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, I mean seriously. So I've become that old guy. I just like, oh, hon, I go to, I go to Scotto's and Angela's for pizza.
My wife will do that sometimes. She'll be like, "Hey, you want to pop over to the mall?" And I think she's appealing to my sense of nostalgia. And I'm like, no.
I'll go to Moorestown Mall if I absolutely need something.
For something if you need it.
Because that mall's become so dead, it's always empty. So I love it.
Moorestown Mall has become the place I hang out between movies.
Well, if I'll see 3 or 4 movie theater is there.
I had a buddy I have a buddy who's from South Florida, right? And he moved into my area. And he'd be like, "Hey, come over to my place, man. We're gonna do that." It's like, "I'm sorry, man. That's far, dude." It was literally like a 15-minute drive to get to his place. But he's like, "Bro, I'm from South Florida. Like, I had to drive like 2 hours to go to my homie's house." You know what I'm saying? Plus, I-95 is a pain, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, but here, 15 minutes is a long way away, bro. Like, come on,
John. The Rockaway Mall is one of those malls where my wife and her sisters would go, and they would like plan the day, and then they would stop and eat somewhere, and it would be like 7:30, and none of us can drive. And I'm like, well, you know what? You're going to have to stay in a hotel and come home in the morning. I am not driving out to Rockaway to go to the mall.
I haven't been to Rockaway in years.
Three drunk, obnoxious sisters and 25 packages. No.
Yeah, I basically, the farthest I'll travel is for a softball tournament. And I've started since I
That's
planned.
different, though. There's like a reason to do that.
Yeah, but since I planned the schedule for my daughter's team, it's been suspiciously getting closer and closer to my house. So to give you an example, the last 2 tournaments and the third one we're going to play in this weekend are all within about an 8-minute proximity from my house. I've gotten like that, dude.
Nice.
The farthest I've gone, and they actually pay me to be site director, was Sacred Heart CYO in Hainesport.
Oh.
Dude, I've become that old guy, dude.
Gas is too expensive to be wandering around.
Yeah, it is. I
That's
agree.
the
I like
excuse
that.
Gas could be 80 cents a gallon. I'd be like,
whoa, that's way too much gas.
Slow down. I'm retired.
All my homies have
Hey,
been,
turn off the lights. What am I?
all my homies have been like telling me, hey man, we haven't hung out in a while. We all need to hang out. I'm like, yeah, man, let's plan something. All right, pizza, beer, whiskey, retro gaming, my place, Friday night. that's how I plan. I'm like, just come to my place. We're gonna be good.
And somebody bring the pizza and somebody bring the whiskey too, please. If you don't
I
mind.
got the games.
See, that's never bothered me. My whole life, I'm the guy who's had to bring the food.
Well, that would make sense.
I've always
Nobody wants me bringing.
John, you're invited too Friday if you want to come play 1989's Batman on NES.
Whoa! I don't get the invite. John gets the invite.
You can come too, Rex. If you guys want to help us beat, we're gonna beat Batman.
I can bring whiskey. That I can bring.
I just think you got whiskey.
It might not be a full bottle by the time I get there.
Driving now. I ain't flying.
What's that?
I ain't flying. They barely fix those planes anymore. We're gonna have to drive.
You're driving. I can't drive that far. I'll fall asleep, dude. I can't make it to Cherry Hill. It's 6 miles down the road. What are you kidding me? He lives in Alabama, bro. That's a long way.
It's come to the point now where I
got to take lots of pee breaks too long.
When I drive to Myrtle Beach, it's actually like it's not that big a deal to me now.
Myrtle Beach, that really is far, dude.
10 hours.
I'll be honest with you. You kind of have to clue me in. So the way that youth softball works, at the end of the season, sometime in July, we travel to play in the National. So, there are tons of them across the country. But we're looking at Myrtle Beach because I made everybody go to Gulf Shores, Alabama. And I didn't realize so many of the parents were driving because the team picks up my airfare and my daughter's airfare and lodging. So I'm like, yeah, I've never been there. That sounds great, man. I'd love to go to the Gulf of Mexico and hang out and whatever. Everybody drove, and they all kind of looked at me sideways like, well, I didn't realize you were all driving. You know how much it costs to fly a family of 4 down there? I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. So I felt Myrtle Beach was, I always try to pick a vacation spot because I realize, anybody. All right, Stevie B. All right, you got it, buddy. All right, so the Batman number 50. Got it. So that's going to Stevie
Congratulations to whoever won the best offers.
Yep. That would be Stevie B as well.
It's kind of cool to watch to go to the hit around. I walk down from the hotel. I grab a cup of coffee and it's just open. The Pelicans are kind of doing this. Guys they're looking for. There's guys that are 35, guys that are 18. They're just sort of, I was like, oh, food trucks. And then I could actually hear. I'm like, I turned around, I looked, and they were just having a hit around. They're like, oh, yeah, Class A affiliate, whatever, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Sat there, had my food.
Yeah, Class A, single A, they're really working. They're really working, trying to make their way to the show. But
oh yeah, the one guy that said it, he's like, I have to be out of here by 2:00 because his job started at like 3. He was like, he had his uniform on, and
I got to tell you, those guys work hard. I remember, but if I encourage everybody, if you have not been, Chocos 26, what's going on, buddy? If you have not been to a minor league game and there is one near you, you should go. It's a completely different experience than going to a Major League Baseball game. You may not know all the players. The best way I can describe it is
going to like a Division III football game.
Yeah,
I'd love to go see Princeton play.
Yeah, it's fun. Concessions are more reasonable. It's just a good time, and they do a lot to try to entertain you. So there used to be a independent league here in our area. It was Camden River Sharks. That league has since collapsed. But I used to go there, take my daughter there. I knew the GM, so I get free tickets. Parking was $7. Beers were, like $4 or $5, which was kind of expensive for the time. But I remember talking to my friend, and he told me, I finally understood they had fireworks every Friday and Saturday. And he told me, he goes, look, I'm not competing with the Phillies. I'm not trying to compete with people going to watch the Phillies play.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is I'm competing with you taking your family 4 out to go watch a movie that night. That's what. So the mascot, man, that mascot.
It's like minor league hockey. When the Phantoms were in Philadelphia, I always arranged for my end of the day to be there, and I didn't have I could buy tickets. Still have great seats. They moved to Lehigh Valley. I think they're in either Lehigh. They might be in Hershey now.
Yeah.
But it's just more relaxed than you can.
It makes a little bit more sense. When they were in Philly, it didn't make a whole lot of sense because, in a sense,
the Flyers in some days would be playing like the next day or the day before. Exactly. But when they moved out to Lehigh Valley, there's not a lot out there, man.
Yeah, there's not a lot. Yeah, so going to a Phantoms, a hockey game, makes sense. And it's 9 out. So I encourage everybody. I mean, these players are playing to try and stay in the game.
It's that same mindset of support your local comic book store. Exactly. Yes, I know. Amazon will bring you whatever. They'll helicopter it in so you'll get your books. Hit up your local comic book store. Support people. There's a ton of, like I said, the experience. If you're looking for a book, hit up somebody you see on the experience. I guarantee you they own a store, they work in a store, that whatever, and they'll hook you up. I'm glad to be back. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Robbie. Obviously, go check out his channel. I mean, we have a blast with it. We all watch it. It's not like we just say that. We check in over there.
What's the movie tonight?
We're actually off this week because we just wrapped the podcast. But next week, The Godfather.
Ooh,
nice.
Nice one.
Like a little known film, a little independent film that most people haven't seen, but yeah.
We'll be back on Wednesday, New Comic Book Day.
Yep.
We've got Lady Hell. We have issue 1 of Tarzan. Go find that. And Garbage Pail Kids. And
yes.
Eyeballs.
So we'll be back Wednesday with Alec from 6 to 8. And,
yes, love the Submariner statue on Wednesday.
And join me and Robbie on Friday on PCP on his channel for our noon show. Don't know what the topic will be. Neither does Robbie.
He'll figure it out at 11.
Yeah, he'll make it up on Friday morning when he wakes up, has his cup of coffee.
Nice.
But thank everyone. Love this community. Thank you, Ron.
We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Man. We'll see you guys Wednesday.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.